Welcome, everybody, and this is your boy, the Almighty One, bringing you a video of some smiling, great smiling statistics. But before I get right into it, don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe this video, and most importantly, hit that notification bell so when I make great videos like this about the Philadelphia Eagles, you know it's coming good and direct, straight in video form. So let's go ahead and jump right into this game. I made about 4 videos that's been uploaded. Please check out those videos as quick as you can, possible before you view this one. One video talks about Saquon's 2,000-yard season, first in Eagles history. But the Eagles win the football game in magnificent fashion, 41-7. We kept the Cowboys out of the end zone most of the game, except for the first quarter when they scored the first touchdown. The second quarter they scored. Third and fourth quarter they scored. All the Eagles did well defensively, offensively, and special teams. On all three phases, the Eagles have done real well in all three phases of the football game. And we are now 12. We are now 13-3. One more game to go at the New York Giants in Philadelphia, and that game will probably be a different game. But I'll make a video on that one later on in the week for that one. All right, now let's jump right into it. Statistic-wise, like I said, the Eagles, didn't score. The Eagles score in the first, second, third, and fourth quarter of this game. The Eagles score for the first time all season. The Eagles have had a complete game against the Cowboys. They've scored in all 4 quarters. And the first quarter game I didn't see because I was at churches. I couldn't check it out right away. But the Cowboys only scored 1 touchdown, like I said, in the first quarter. The second, third, and fourth quarter, they didn't score at all. The Eagles did well defensively against this Cowboys so-called offense without Dak Prescott. But I'm going to tell you something. I think the Eagles would have won the game if Dak Prescott even played. It would have even made a difference because the fact is, you got CD Lamb who's out for the year. He out for the year as well, Dak Prescott. So the Cowboys were basically banged up on the offensive side of the football. I think they only got one guy out on defense that's out, and I think that Trayvon Diggs, I think he out for the year with an ankle injury, so he won't be back. He the only guy that's hurting on defense. But for the most part, the Cowboys on offense are hurting the most because they got CD Lamb out and they got Dak Prescott. Two your main key contributors on offense is out for the year, and I think they got one offensive lineman out for the year as well. I believe. I think Martin out for the year. So the Cowboys are banged up. They came into this game banged up before we even had a chance to beat them this bad with 41 points to their 7. All right, now let's get into the highlights and statistics of the game so you see what's going on. I'm going to go ahead and start with the Eagles statistics first. 3 touchdown passes were tossed in this game by Kenny Pickett and Tanner McKee. Pickett went out with an apparent rib injury, I believe. He got hit by what is his name? By number 11 for the Cowboys. It actually was a clean hit, you know what I'm saying? With no legal, it was a clean hit. And he got hit and then come back no more in the game. I think it was either his rib or his shoulder, one of the two. But here are his statistics. He had 10 of 15, 143 yards, a 9.5 average, yard per average, 1 touchdown, no picks, and his rating was 119. Not bad. Compared to a guy who a lot of Eagle fans were criticizing a lot going in from last week's game or last week's loss for that matter. You got to forget the guy came in place of Hurts, so he wasn't hardly prepared. But he was prepared in this game. You can believe that. And Tanner McKee, his replacement, had 3 or 4 for 54 yards, a 13.5 average, which he only had 1 incomplete pass, while Pickett only had 5 incomplete passes. And his average was 13.5 was yard per average, 2 touchdown scores. His rating was 156.2. For the first time, the Eagles have had back-to-back quarterbacks with 100-plus rating. That's the first time that it has ever happened, probably in Eagles history. And probably gonna be discussed later on into the week. I'm just mentioning it for the first time for you guys, so I'm probably gonna post on Facebook to everybody be aware of it as well. Okay, here's the rushing. Saquon Barkley had a 31 carry game, which the first time he's had over 30 attempts for the Eagles. He had 26 yards, 26 carries or less. I think he came close as far as 28, but he never reached 30. It's the first time he reached 30 in this game. 31 attempts for 167 yards, 5.4 average, 23 with the long, no score. Why even score when Eric Diggins was playing in the right place? Then you had David Price, 3 for 7, 2.3, 5 with the long, no score. Then your Gainwell, 3 for 4, 1.34 with the long, no score. And Pickett was 3 for 3, 1.0, 2 with the long, 1 score. He scored on the touch push. And Tanner McKee was 2 for -2, -1, no 0. All right, here's the receiving. Devontae Smith had a pretty good outing. He had 6 receptions for 120 yards, a 20.0 average, 49 with the long, 2 touchdowns. He had A.J. Brown, who had 3 for 36, 12.0, 20 with the long, 1 touchdown. And Greg Katera had that 1 catch from Kenny Pickett for 34 yards, 34.0 with the average, 34 with the long, no score. And Gainwell with 1 for 5. 5.0, 5 with the long, no score. And then Barkley had was 2 for 2, 1.0, 7 with the long, no score. Defense. Now the defense wasn't too shabby, but they did a pretty good job. Okay, Owen Burks was 8 for 6, no sacks, no interceptions, 1 forced fumble. Bond was 7 for 6, 0-0-0. Hunt was 6 for 2, 0-0-0. Booker 5 for 3. He had a half sack, no INTs, no forced fumbles. And Quinyon Michael Mitchell was 5 tackles, 0-0-0-0. Wet was 5-2, 0-0-0. And Cooper DeJean was 5-2, 0-0-0. And Blankenship was 3-2, 0-0-0. And Slay was 3-1, 0-0-0. Trotter was 3-2. Okay, Trotter played pretty good. Okay, Trotter played some pretty good snaps. And he had the half sack. He was 3-2, the half sack, 0-0. And Moro Odromo was 3-3, 0-0-0. And Nolan Smith was 2-1, 0-0. 1 forced fumble. And Milton Williams was 2-1, 0-0-0. And Sidney Brown, talk about him later in the video, was 1-0, 0-0-0. Avante Maddox, 1-0, 0-0-0. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson was 1-0-0. 2 interceptions, 0. 2 interceptions, no forced fumble. And Jordan Davis was 1-1, 0-0-0. And McCullum was 1-0, 0-0-0. Kenneth Gainwell was 2 on his punt return, kicking kick return. He was 2 for 60 yards, 30.0, 36 with the long, no touchdown. And then punt return, Cooper DeJean was 2 for 15, a 7.5, 14 with the long, no score. And Jake Elliott was 2 for 2, 28.5 average. His long was 31, no blocks, and he had 5 extra points. 5 extra points, not bad. And then Brian Mann was 3 for 148 yards. This is punting, 49.3, 54 with the long. He had 2 touchbacks, and he had 1 inside the 20. Now let's go on back to what I was saying about let me see. Sidney Brown. Did you guys see that scuffle? My man took down 2 Cowboys, but one of the Cowboys slammed him. If you watch very carefully, Sidney Brown was going for the interception, but the guy grabbed Sidney Brown and flung him like a wrestling. He flung him down like he suplexed him in what he did. And Sidney Brown got up and got pissed and started pushing at him and stuff. So that's where the penalty come in at, and then Cowboy had two other players to come in and try to break it up, but the Eagles and Cowboy had to go over and break them up because it could have gotten far worse, but it was some ejection though. Sidney Brown got ejected, and the three Cowboy players that played in that game also got ejected. So that's how that turned out. And my man Saquon Barkley. What more can I say? What more can I say? The man is over 2,000 yards. He's the Eagles' first 2,000-yard rusher. Now, who to say if the Eagles' other running backs could have 2,000-yard rushing? Reason why that couldn't happen because the Eagles had a confused coaching staff. They didn't know what to do with the running game. So the Eagles had to revamp the entire coaching staff to bring in some new running back coaches, some new defensive line coaches. Basically, a lot of coaches has changed this entire team around. They brought a bunch of experience, and when you bring in experienced coaches like that, who can teach and educate and develop players, you know what you're getting. So this is what happened with this entire. This is why Saquon is over 2,000 yards rushing, because in the developmental of Stout University, Jaden Carter, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, the other, what's his name? Number 19, Josh Sweat, the linebackers, the safeties, the Eagles and DBs. The Eagles had to revamp. The Eagles did more revamping their defensive staff than they did the offense, because the offense was pretty much in play. They only bought, I think, Kellen Moore and another guy they brought in for the offense, but the defensive staff took an entire complete change, and that's why their defensive plan lights out the way they're playing. That's why we're still number one in the game, even though we had a bad game against the Washington Commanders last week, a lot of 100-yard receiving, and that was what's his name, Gary Terry went over 100 yards in receiving. We haven't allowed now this year up until that Washington game. But the Eagles going back to basics in this game today against the Cowboys, and you see the statistics output of what have happened. And that's why we are in position 13-3, could be 14-3 next week. But like I said, I'm not going to discuss next week because it's not about next week. It's about this week, what happened today. Okay, now I gave you the Eagles statistics. Now here's the Cowboys statistics. Cooper, what's his name? Cooper Rush was 15 of 28, 147 yards, 5.3 average, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, 50.7 was his average. And then Trey Lance was 1 for 1 yard, 1 yard per average, 0-0, 79.2. Trey Lance had a better statistics with the 101 for 1 yard than Cooper Rush had altogether. So that tell you something. And this Dowell boy, the Eagles have not allowed a 100-yard rusher all game as well, so they're going to fix that as well. He had 23 attempts for 104 yards, 4.5 average, 17 for the long, no score. Turpin was 2 for 6, 2 for 18, 9.0, 12 with the long, no score. Elliott was 3-2, 0-7, 5 for the long, no score. Rush with 1-2, 2.0, 2 with the long, no score. And Trey Lance with 1-1, 1-0, 1 with the long, no score. Here we go. Receiving. Cooks with 4 for 52 yards, 13.0, 22 with the long, no score. And Tolbert 3 for 30, 10.0, 19 with the long. He had the long 1 touchdown score. Ferguson 3 for 18, 6.0, 7 with the long no score, and Turpin with 1 for 16, 16.0, 16-0. Mingo and Brooks both had 1 reception apiece, 12, 12.0, 12-0. And Dalbert with 1 for 4, 4.0, 4 with the long no score. And then Flournoy, whatever his name is, whatever his name is, with 1 for 3, 3.0, 3 with the long no score. And Lupke, 1-1-1-0-1 no score. All right, hit the defense. Oh, Cowboys didn't get no sack in this game. Wow, he can play a clean game. Play a clean game. Okay, here we go. Hooker with 3 with 9-3, 0-0-0. Kendrick with 9-4, 0-0-0. Booth with 6-3, 0-0-0. Bland with 6-2, 0-0-0. Lewis with 5-4, 0-0-0. Compton with 4-0, 0-0-0-0. LeFou with 4-1, 0-0-0. Smith was 3-1, 0-0-0. Watkins with 2-1, 0-0-0. And this Zua, I'm there gonna say Zua with 2-0, 0-0-0. Joseph 2-0, 0-0-0-0. Thomas with 2-1, 0-0-0. Parsons with 2-0, 0-0-0. Lawson with 1-1, 0-0-0. Wilson with 1-0, 0-0-0-0. And I want to say Muku because he had an odd name, was 1-0, 0-0-0, and Nederland was 1-0, 0-0-0. Terrapin was 2 for 48 yards, 24 kick returns, 24.0 was the average, 30 was the long no score, no punt returns, and Aubrey was field goal was 0 for 1, no average, no long, no blocks, and with one extra point. And this guy Anger was 4 for 198 yards, 49.5 was the average, 62 was the long, no touchbacks, and 2 inside the 20. So, like I just read to you guys, the Cowboy defense did not get a single sack on the quarterbacks. I guess it's because they played a little bit safe on defense because they didn't have to deal with Hurts. That's probably why. But when you play safe like that and when you score no points on defense or on the offense side of the football like the Cowboys did with the only 1 score in the first quarter, that's your main results. So the Eagles win this game again in grand fashion, 41-7. Like I mentioned in one video in the past, go check it out. And I mentioned this video again. The Eagles have not put up a 40 burger on the Cowboys since the McNabb era. And like I said, Tony Romo was that quarterback then, and the Eagles sacked Tony Romo quite a few times in that game. And the Eagles had a couple of pump out fumbles recovered and ran to those scores for the end zone for the score. We put up that's a 44-point game, and the Cowboys I think they gave them 44-6. I think that's what it was. The Cowboys only scored a measly 3-point field goals. They only scored 6. But here's the funny part: at least in this game they scored 7. Because in that game they only scored 6 points, 2 field goals. So that's the funny part about that. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. This is Week 17 review. The Eagles win in grand fashion, 41-7. We shut the Cowboys completely out in the second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. Didn't give them no breathing room. And that being said, Kelly Green, baby, 55. We got this. We're 13-3 for the season. Trying to make it 14-3 so we can go into the playoffs with some momentum. And the way it's looking, look like we're gonna want to play the Washington Commanders, and we owe Washington. We owe them big time. We owe them big time. So, without any further ado, like I said, enjoy your smile.